Hello and welcome to my cozy corner. Today I'm going to be trying something a little different. I'm going to make a proper video for you all. I'm going to do a little anime review of everything I watched for the new summer season. What makes my opinion important? I don't know. I just wanted to do it because I do a thing every season where I watch one episode of every new show, or at least try to. I'm not perfect about it. So this season, I took a little bit extra effort to try to, which sucks. Have you seen this lineup? There's too many shows out this season. Crazy. But I still pulled it off, I think. I'm sure I'll find out right after this. I missed like one or two shows, but I think I caught the vast majority of them. Now, here's the thing. I do this because long ago, I was watching an anime season, and I just said, you know what? I'm just going to try some random bullshit out. This looks stupid, but I'm going to try to watch it. And then it ended up being my favorite show of the season. And I'm like, you know what? If I have the time, they deserve at least one episode. And now you'd think, oh, well, why only one episode? Why don't you give it like the 3-episode test review? I don't have time for that. But also, I've watched enough shows at this point that usually I can tell, usually within first 10 seconds, whether the craft is pretty good or not. It can vary. I can be pretty forgiving of some things if the overall craft is good. But here's the thing. It works the other way too. I can oftentimes tell within about 10 seconds if this is going to be hot shit. I'm still going to watch it. I might not pay the most rapt attention, but I'm still going to watch it. But I can usually tell. Like you see a man put his hand on a boy's shoulders, you're like, this is BO. You see two girls acting overly cutesy and getting really close. You're like, oh, this is Yuri bait. You see a hero doing OP hero things and working really hard to keep everyone in line. You're like, oh, he's gonna be kicked out of the heroes party for being useless despite being central to the group. You can tell right away, oftentimes. But there's some good stuff this season. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to watch. There's a lot I watched and have been keeping up on beyond the first episode I watched. I was actually a little behind on this because I had to take a break for a bit, life getting in the way and everything. I'm going to order these shows in order of when I watched them, or sometimes I can be a little off depending on, but I wrote them into a document as I was watching them, and I'm going to be doing it in the order that they're in the document. And so that it's no in particular, this isn't like, oh, I watched the first ones I watched are good, last ones I watched are bad. No, everything's of varying quality throughout, but this is just how I experienced the season itself. So, I will give at the end a conclusion on which ones I think are probably the best, and which I probably will highlight, or at least the ones I care about the most, I'm going to keep up with, I'll probably highlight. There's a lot of shows this season, so I think I'll start with a baseline of stuff that I watched from the previous seasons and stuff to talk about from those previous seasons. And I think you can get a lot from how I feel about those shows, about my general vibe in general. Now, I might say a little too much about some of these, but some of these I think I've got because I have stuff to say. I think there's a lot you can gain from this, and hopefully this will be a good introduction to me and how I feel about things. Sword of the Demon Hunter, Kijin Gentōshō. This series is one I've been championing, silently and on deaf ears for the most part. It's kind of fallen into obscurity a bit with the second core here, but this is very much my speed of storytelling. It's a period piece, mostly drama, about demons and humanity. The way it relates to demons and the human condition itself, it's been consistently fascinating. It's not like 100% all cylinders production, but it's had great directing, and the series itself has a lot to say, and I'm here for it. The most surprising thing to me is how, despite all its time-spanning journey, everything that happens feels so intimate. Everything's part of a larger whole. Pieces build on each other. It all ties naturally back into its central theme. Even a hand outstretched can have a ripple effect. The story itself is about a boy who ran away with his sister, who was basically being abused for having the demonic trait. And he had to protect her. And he goes into a small village where they raise the next Miko. And this Miko means a lot to them, and everything centers around that, and romance and drama and misunderstandings, and these intense feelings create demons inside all of us. And it's more literal in this way the story tells it, but it's all wonderful. Kaiju number 8 came back this season for its season 2, and this is where everyone else gets to understand what it really is. It's just a pure shonen. There's nothing else going on. The first season opens up on a fun premise. You see this dude who works in waste disposal for Kaiju get turned into a Kaiju, and he has to balance that with his dream where he wanted to be an SDF member. And there's like this back and forth between his ability to understand how Kaiju work, his newfound powers, and his nostalgia and regret. Season 2 shows up, and here we are. All the time is spent on fighting monsters. And honestly, for some people, that's literally what they're signed up for. Like, this is what you want. You want to see some people fight some Kaiju. This man with Kaiju powers fight this Kaiju. What you want to see, right? Well, for me, I need a little more meat to chew on. And I had already read the manga, so I kind of knew what to expect, but I hope maybe in animation there'd be more here. But the first season already like reinforced my feelings. And then I caught some of this, and honestly, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. There's fight scenes, and then characters fight, and they're doing a good job making it. It's a well-made show. It lacks that special sauce for me. I mean, this is Kaiju number 8, and it is what it is. It's okay. But I want something more out of my shows. Continuing from last season is To Be Hero X. What a lot of people enjoying this series do not realize about this Chinese-Japanese co-production, this is actually the 3rd season of To Be Hero. With the second being To Be Heroine and the first being To Be Hero. And it's quite a change from where those with their more comedic bent were. I would just describe the original To Be Hero as an absurdist comedy with a surprising amount of heart, and To Be Heroine felt more like it was a pretentious comedy that was trying to shock, but then spent too much time on exposition, and its weirdness went too far. Majority of the time spent on expositional dialogues, I just did not give a shit about what's going on, and I never really quite fully grasped everything that's happening because I wasn't given the time to give it. X, on the other hand, it's been a solid journey, and it really shows how much Lee Allen's evolved over time. It's an interesting world where heroes are powered by the trust the population puts in them. For good or ill, this can cause problems, or it can make them extremely unstoppable. I think it really helps too with this series is that it puts together a bunch of shorter character-focused stories that slowly weave into each other, instead of it doing what the others did where they tried to make a long-running series just about like a specific center group, and things just kind of would get messy and they'd be trying to like shoehorn too much in. So it's not as awkward, which honestly that was my main criticism with Heroine, is it's trying to do too much and it's not spending enough time making me give a shit. But now with this, each story can stand on their own, and with this mixed media thing they're going with, it's really interesting experience. It also really invites a lot of discussion about power sets and how they function, and you can make theory crafting. Like our mysterious hero X may be influencing things because based on what we've seen of him, he can snap his fingers and things like change media. And what does that mean? How much power does he really have? And honestly, I was sold 2 years ago with their concept movie. It was so stylish and cool. Now this could end up funneling the landing, But so far, it's been a great experience to go through this.
Yeah.
Totally recommend it.
Never seen something quite like it. And when we play, don't stop right at 10. Won't see it coming fast like lightning. We'll save the day, it can't deny.
Something I've always struggled with is how to describe when something just looks absolutely gorgeous and just won't stop moving. This is the second season of Dress Up Darling, and honestly, I didn't remember the first season being this crazy with like constant animation, but this season was just a constant influx of it. Just every few seconds there's animation happening, characters are moving, things that would normally be just quiet little dialogue scenes just endlessly moving. It's such a treat visually. And something I always liked of the first season itself is this is a series where I always get really like bent out of shape with fan service. Fan service drives me absolutely nuts. Too much fan service and I'll just lose interest. And this series is full of fan service, but the way it does the fan service makes a lot more sense in general context, because the things happening are things that would literally be fan servicey. I'm not going, oh, they're trying to make the audience hard. No, the characters are feeling really awkward and horny themselves. And it's not being there to be titillating in the same way. It's there to further character development. It's always the thing I've liked about Dress Up Darling. That, and it's really interesting learning about like creating costumes and other things that happen in the series. It's honestly really enjoyable. Like, there's nothing else really like this specifically. There's plenty of romance shows, but Cloverworks really pulls out their A game for this, I gotta say. So, season 2, hearty recommend. I'm honestly enjoying it more than I enjoyed the first season. A show that came back this season is Puniru is a Slime. It's a cute slime. It's basically a cutesy little like slapstick comedy, which a bunch of middle schoolers who are all assholes to each other. I always like to describe it as It's Always Sunny for kids with wacky slime slapstick. That's always the description I've given for it. If you want just like a wild time, it's pretty alright. There's stuff here, there's jokes, but some people might find the characters themselves a little too much friction. But if you just want like disposable media that's just wacky comedy, it's an alright time. It's a rom-com for kids, basically. Grand Blue Dreaming's back this season. And this normal diving anime is a great time with your friends. Wonderful sights and scenes to enjoy the joys of diving. Everything is just normal. You're just watching just raucous like college comedy the whole way through. I think season 2's been a little odd on its direction so far, but it's still been decently amusing episode to episode. The reaction faces have been a little lower on the quality, but I'm sure there's still going to be good stuff here. You want a good time? Grand Blue Season 2 is here. Rascal does not dream of Santa Claus. So, I wasn't sure if I actually wanted to include this one, but since I did give it a watch again, I thought I might as well give my piece on it. But this was a series I never quite got why people are so in love with it. It was the kind of series that felt like some college kid wrote it thinking they were the most clever dude ever. But I never felt attached to the characters. Dialogue never felt natural to me. If the situations always came off really weird and contrived. That said, I didn't hate it. I just didn't really get into it. Even worse, as the years gone by, I've mostly forgotten it or fused it with similarly toned stories. Even when it's stories I actually remember well, this one was always really foggy for me. Anyways, after watching the first episode of the new season, about the same as I remember. So if you loved it as it was, it looks like it's going to continue this, but they're in college now. You'll probably like this one too. As for me, still not quite my vibe. Dofakashi no Uta came back this season. Call of the Night. This is just the vibes-based vampire show you want. If you just want to hang out at the middle of the night and just chill. Season 2 has been excellent, and we've gotten some new Creepy Nuts tracks. It's been great, including a really gorgeously animated opening sequence. But in general, what you're dealing with here is the same vibe as the first. This little romance story, a little bit of a dark bent into the nightlife. Speaking of Creepy Nuts, our next series is now Creepy Nuts-less and has moved forward with its second season. DanDaDan has returned. This show probably doesn't need an introduction from me, but I have to sing its praises. Excellent animation, excellent storytelling, wonderful characterization, and a bunch of weird as fuck shit to keep you on the edge of your seat. Main duo's romantic chemistry is outstanding. Momo and Okaruna's deuteragonists are unmatched. Even if I think Momo's probably more the MC, it doesn't really matter. They're inseparable. Aliens, cryptids, magic powers, oh my, this series has it all. It's highly recommended, and you've probably been hearing about it, and this thing's always bursting on all cylinders. DanDaDan is an easy recommend. Just don't let the weird shit turn you away from Speak. And so, this ends the portion of the recurring series. And going forward, we're going to be talking about new series. Again, this isn't in any particular order. I wanted to show them as I watched them, because this is the experience I go through the season, and I want to see other people to appreciate how I go through it. The discovery process, I think, is part of the fun with the new animes. Sometimes you don't get what you want, but there's some gems hidden in there sometimes. And so without further ado, we'll start off. And here we have the first thing I peeped in the season. Kojo Denka no Kateyoshi, private tutor to the Duke's daughter. It's the first one I peeped, but man, it's just about an OP protagonist tutoring a lowly harem. It doesn't exactly put me in like woohoo territory. Now, granted, I only watched the first episode, so I could be projecting a little bit on this one, but I gotta say, it didn't really endear me very much, but it's extremely competently made. That's what threw me off. It's like I was almost interested in the world and everything, but in the end, it is just what it is. If you want that, it seems like it's a solid one, but it's not quite what I'm here for. Now, you know what do get me going. Detectives these days are crazy. Came at me like a fucking freight train with little opening song that's like the ode to getting old, and it sucks. I had a great time with this show. This show honestly threw me for a loop because everything I expected from it was that basically it would just be like a little detective romp with like little short like comedy bent to it, like about regaining your passions, and even though you've grown old, you can still be passionate about the things you love. And like there's this little girl here that shows up, and she's here to help you out and everything. And see, nah, that's not what we got. Nah, what I got was this insanely like absurdist comedy that's just goes off the fourth fucking wall constantly. Like, it's got more in common with Gintama's craziest episodes than it does like a cute little like story. Like, this was a wild time. This absolutely absurdist bullshit. Like, by the time that this little teenager was going and wiping out an entire Yakuza organization, only having watched movies and shit, this show had just completely gone off the rails. But honestly, it's in a good way. I had a great time watching this. It's absolutely stupid dumb fun. This show shouldn't be as good as it is. It's fairly by the numbers for what it is, being like a little isekai-ish story. Actually, it says isekai. It's more, I guess I would call it like regression. But it's a similar vibe of a story. But it's actually very interested in exploring its world and character. And good presentation and characterization, I think, goes a long way with something. Honestly, even though I only watched the first episode, I might peep some more of this because it was extremely well crafted and I was interested in everything that was happening. Was it high art, super original? No, but I felt emotions for these characters. The basic premise is dude kills Demon King but loses everyone he cares about in the process. And honestly, it's just enough to pile you along and make you want to get invested in the guy's story. And so I thought it was really well. And when I started reading about it, I learned that apparently it was one of those stories that was fairly original at its time. It was less rote when it was originally written, which makes sense considering how this one doesn't seem to be following trends per se. I think it's worth a look, but it's not the best thing I've ever watched. But it's very decently crafted, well directed, good animation. I think it's a safe bet, if anything else. But this season's so packed, and there's so many options, especially our next one.
を戦争の道具にしている連中、ウィザードだ。つまりこの剣には魔術というものが深く関わっている。竜殺し、ドレルか。
その大地、江戸世愛には
This show is something special. This is a fantasy story that's, first of all, it's not the derivative, like, regression, isekai, none of that. None of that. This is pure fantasy, but it's also dark fantasy. But the most interesting thing about this is your protagonist isn't who you think it is. You think it's Blonde Girl, but technically no. Your protagonist is basically what's the villain, who's basically just going around learning about humans. This is honestly a breath of fresh air. Now, it's not completely original in all aspects. Like, I've seen stuff that does this before, but in this context is actually really cool. So our big demon dog boy gets curious about why humans are always attacking him and his demon beasts, and then he goes and revives the hero that actually managed to hit him, and they go on a little journey together to try to raise this kid so he can figure out why the fuck humans matter. Why should I not just kill them all right now? And that's the basic premise of the entire series. It's very bloody. People get mangled and fucked up. Apparently, the source material is a little overly horny, which some of that leaks in, but they seem to have toned it down a little bit for the anime. But honestly, all in all, this and the production and the art style, the animation, and the originality on display, like, this is a safe bet. This is one of the best anime of this season. So, give this a shot, Clevatess. You got my number. This is one I've already been keeping up with. I couldn't not.
私は内野資本立
ルナの乳母となり我と共にここを出るか
聞きたいことは一つだけ
Want to see some real trash? And check out Gachiakuta, which is effectively means real trash. It's literally about trash, and people's values of trash, and the edgy shonen action story of using trash. It comes from that Japanese idea of like there's a soul in items that are cared for or used a lot. It's got tons of style, like seeping out of every core, made by a protege of the guy who made Soul Eater. But this girl, she is what I would call punk rock. This series wants you to stand there, furrow your brow right alongside the protagonist, look him in the eye, and scream to the heavens, "Fuck you all! You're all fucking trash!"
雑魚には価値なんてねえから
価値ってなんだ
大事に使ってやれば魂がいや
おかしいでしょ
Kamitsubaki, City Under Production. This may be, hands down, my most disliked anime this season. It has decent visuals, especially for a 3D production, but my entire feeling the entire time I was watching this, is this a gacha adaptation or something? Because they're just slapping around tons of characters all over the screen constantly. I have no idea what they're doing, and then they just start singing songs, and I'm like, what? Are they more interested in playing as many songs as possible for these waifus to sing instead of telling a coherent story? Like, what is going on? What is happening? It seems to be about supernatural battles, and then they sing songs to purify the things they kill. But for as much exposition as they were spewing the entire time, I still didn't really understand exactly what was happening other than some basics. Like, who are these characters? They seem to have something with each other. Why do I care about them? What is the feeling that I'm supposed to latch on to? It just feels like everything was being speedrun the whole time. I'm not feeling this one, but apparently it's a prequel to a visual novel? And it's also some sort of VTuber thing? I don't know. I'm out though. Turkey. This show is a cute girls do cute things type show. About bowling this time. What seems to set this one apart is it cuts immediately to the drama. Everyone's arguing about whether they should continue on with their bowling club activities as is. They should win tournaments more. This one girl wants to leave because she wants to win, but everyone else seems to just content to just play around, have a good time. And the leader struggles because she wants to have a good time, but she's also really good, and she always chokes at the 11th hour. And everything just kind of starts falling apart. And so the series drama seems to be centered around this relationship between everyone and their love for bowling. So what makes this special? Well, everything from this point on is going to be spoilers. The first episode ends, and everything goes out the left field, and some crazy bullshit starts to happen. They're sucked back into fucking time, and they're in the Sengoku Jidai. And you're like, what the fuck is this series going for? I thought we signed up for a bowling show. And most interestingly is their entire drama, interpersonal drama between this bowling club carries through into this new time. And so it still seems like maybe it's about bowling. Maybe it's not about bowling. I don't know. But all I can say is this is not what you think it is from the marketing material. This could be something a lot more.
あの日の私絶対帰るあんな歴史変えたら私たちが消えるかもしれないんですよ消えたっていいもう帰れなくなっちゃう元の時代に戻れても元の自分に私がいなければみんな幸せってずっとそう思ってた
月宮さんのピンチだろう約束したんだ絶対助ける
Onmyo Kaiten, Rebirth Verse. I had no idea what to expect going into this one, but coming off Kamitsubaki, I initially got the same like gacha game vibes from the character designs, but then as I watched the show, it made way for what was far more Saturday morning cartoon shonen action vibes. I don't know if this show's gonna rock anyone's boat, but if you want a good shonen action series with like a fun setting, I mean, this actually seems alright. Like, I actually enjoyed my time with it. Like, nothing was hard to follow. Characters had their frictions, and there was a lot going on here. It seems to be a David production joint, and it's their first original series, apparently. I'm down to give it another go. A little spice, and a little bit of a hint of ReZero in it, too. So, I want to call this one Tokusatsu ReZero. We'll see how it goes in the end. The Water Magician has no business looking as interesting as it is and being as well made as it is. The show itself is extremely bog standard isekai. He's an OP water mage. He gets OP water powers, and he's super cool. But the vibes, the art, the general animation—they're all well crafted. And like I said, the only thing I have to say is just watch this OP. Like, it's brimming with style. It's so good. The show itself, I wish had more substance. Like, there's like a little hint of it. You don't watch this type of show for something special. You watch this because you just want something well made. So if you've seen any other isekai, you know what to expect here. But it's a high quality one. So Water Magician for me, it's okay. Lord of Mysteries is honestly really like gorgeous and a cinematography like showcase. Like tons of crazy visuals, stuff's going off the wall just all the time. Mundane scenes are just full of character, and the scenes are so detailed too. It's kind of nuts. It's really interesting just looking at what's occurring around you. The problem comes in when you start actually trying to like piece everything together. And it's not that necessarily it's super hard to follow, it's that you're not given very much information. More than anything, I think they're just trying to do way too much at once. And they're banking too hard on you already understanding like the cultivation genres and a whole bunch of other stuff. Like there's this whole scene where they're just at this like round table talking, and I feel like in any other series, you would have like this back and forth of the main character like bullshitting his way, but no, he's just kind of going with it, and it's just so strange. You're just stuck holding this ball, and it's like he's supposed to be our POV character. What's going on? I think this story could be interesting. It could go places. But I don't know if I feel like I want to take the time to piece all this bits and pieces together, because the story is not interested in making me care about anything. If you just want a visual feast, there's enough here to like chew on that. But if you really want to like grasp everything that's going on, you're either going to have to be really patient, or you're really going to want to start writing shit down. I don't think I'm down for this one, unfortunately, as pretty as it is. But I don't hate it. I just don't think I'm going to be able to put up with it. Most reminiscent thing I thought of is like Inception. But Inception, I was intrigued in following everything that was going on. And the character stories. I was very interested in the character stories. Whereas in this series, I don't know what they're going for any second. It's just stuff's happening, I guess. We'll see if I ever go back to this, but I doubt it. Watari-kun's is about to collapse. This is a rom-com with an extremely obnoxious and overly mischievous childhood friend who has reunited with our protag-kun and harasses him when he just wants to do a good job taking care of his sister. His 10-year-old little sister, not the weird one. I wasn't jiving with it. It's not unwatchable, but I really do not like the main duo's chemistry. I think they don't have any. I found them extraordinarily obnoxious. And based on the opening, it looks like it's going to go harem and then go love square. I think there's better options this season. If you really want it, it's probably okay, but I found it completely insufferable.
結構苦しいんだね。チューするって結構苦しいんだね。
And now, come check out another one of the best shows of the seasons. One you couldn't even pay me to not watch.
私です。お久しぶり。
No, hear me out. This one's super great. It has the director of Konosuba and Princess Connect, so you know the comedic timing's on point. But the series itself isn't primarily comedy, it's primarily a story about finding yourself and interpersonal connection. This is the story of the secrets of the Silent Witch. This here is something special this season. It's a cute and fun little fantasy story about an absurdly shy, but also absurdly talented witch getting browbeat and forced in performing guard duty for a prince by her cohort of one of the great sages. One thing I will say is people are kind of right. It's basically like Bocchi the Rock, except witches and magic and fantasy. I think it says a lot that very little happened in the first episode, but it was super enjoyable despite that. It was mostly just introducing you to the characters in the world, and they just hung out on a table for most of the time. And I was compelled the entire time. The animation was fun, the characters were quirky and interesting, and the gimmick of the series itself is really fun. She's so cripplingly shy that she's unable to chant spells around other people. So she literally creates an entire method of chantless casting so she just doesn't have to talk around other people. Everything's got tons of character, and I think this is easily one of the easiest recommends of the season. I say give Secrets of the Silent Witch a shot, and you'll have a good time. Necronomico and the Cosmic Horror Show. So I've watched this now, and it seems to be about VTubers doing a death game streamer challenges to entertain eldritch gods. Though they say VTuber, but it just seems like it's normal YouTubers. But this weirdness may be attributed to the fact this is an anime infamous for being sloppily AI translated, with lines like ChatGPT says, And honestly, yeah, even with it cleaned up now, a lot of these lines just straight don't make sense in the context they occur. I don't think the show is a massive loss for the season. It's just a death game anime. You've probably seen thousands of these. But it doesn't seem like it was terrible enough that it deserved this treatment. If you can watch it in its original form or get to fan subs, maybe it'll be alright. But like the official like AI translated subs, oh man, they're absolute mess. So this is a pass for me. Betrothed to my sister's ex. Cinderella story in a similar vein to last season's Two Perfect Saint. This time the sister still really nice and the parents still really suck. But things go a little bit differently. But this is another romance story of a girl learning to value herself more after escaping an abusive environment. Was it decent? But not especially breaking any new ground here if you're looking for it. I was a little tripped out how she has this little halo effect going on that's uses green, and her hair effect is the same as my model. It does have the knock-on effect that oftentimes it literally looks like she's glowing with the green energy. But all in all, if you want an okay seasonal Cinderella story of someone coming to love themselves, it's a decent one. It has some really strangely well choreographed fight scenes in there that you might get a kick out of. It's kind of strangely high quality. Nothing new, but it's alright. I think Betrothed to My Sister's Ex, it's one of the Cinderella stories of all time. But it's an okay time. The Shy Hero and the Assassin Princesses. We got a raucous comedy about a buffish shit hero who's actually too shy for his own good, and 3 assassins out to get him as his hero's party. It follows the One Piece school of character design, so it can be a little horny, but then it goes and tries to be wholesome on top of that. You got Not Revy, Demon Loli, and the Drug Dominatrix. Honestly, the show itself was pretty amusing, but it can be very regimented in its general structure of they do something flirty to make him pass out because he's too shy. They argue with each other, and then one of them tries to kill him, fails to do it in funny, raucous, slapsticky ways. That's the general stick. I think it was an alright time. It's not at the top on my list, but I'm good for some fun comedies here and there, and this one's got some fun ideas. Not the most original, but it's a fun time.
勇者様かっこいい。お強いんですね。素敵です。また気絶した。今のうちやるか。今日のところはやめておきま。
ロイド、お前にはこのパーティーを抜けてもらう。え?
Scooped up by an S-rank adventurer. It's a kicked out of the hero's party regression story, treading hot new ground. This is probably the most generic show of the season. Like, I have shows I dislike more, but this is the show that is the least unique of everything out there. Like, it's got nothing to offer. The main character's got nothing going on. Generic stuff happened. He gets kicked out of the party for reasons that don't make sense because he has to be secretly OP, but people not appreciate why he's good. You've seen this. You've seen this story. This gets a hard do not watch for me. Bad Girl. An innocent and naive girl tries to be a delinquent to get the attention of a girl she admires who works in the disciplinary committee. She sucks at it, and that's the general joke of the show. It's cute and all, but it does do that thing that kind of irks me, where it aggressively tries to do the bait for Yuri, but they're not doing any relationship stuff. They're just being sexy for the audience, and I'm just like, I don't want to watch someone's fetish material. I want to enjoy jokes and the cuteness. I'm not here for the fetishy stuff. Beyond that, this is pretty standard. Cute girls do cute things, fair. It's got a few decent jokes here and there. I think it's a solid watch, but there's a lot this season that I would recommend way over it. Take this if you really want your cute girls do cute things show, with a slice of Yuri spice. With You and the Rain. This was just a pleasant little chill vibe. As this girl comes home from business, seems a bit low energy, comes across this normal looking dog, and she takes it home and hangs out with her, doing normal dog things. What a precious little doggy dog, and this fun little vibing relationship. This is pure Yashishike. This is what you watch when you just want to relax and heal, have a good time. Nothing special here, other than just pure happiness. The OP itself is a vibe too. It's a good time. Honestly, this is probably easy recommend, but only if you're down for what it's asking you to watch, which is just literally just hanging out with your dog.
はい、どうぞ。栗置いたら？
Busaman Gachiakuta, or Uglymug, Epicfighter. This is a comedy about an ugly guy down on his luck for being ugly, getting an opportunity to isekai into his new life, decides to make himself even uglier for bonus skill points. He takes things further and goes for the takes 10% damage if a girl touches him and dies of a blood explosion if he has sex. It's extremely contrived starting out, to be honest, but then it kind of goes some weird places, and it ended up being an alright time with a lot more heartfelt things to say than I expected. Honestly, I've been keeping up with this one because I was actually kind of compelled by it. It's strange. It's not the most extreme production, but overall, this has been a great time. It has been surprising me on multiple fronts. So I say Uglymug Epicfighter, it's worth it. It's worth the check out. It actually has some real heartfelt stuff to say. Dekin no Mogura, the Earthbound Mole. This one's a little weird one to try to describe. It's very dialogue heavy and thick in cultural references. We got some dude who can't die, so he collects this fire from spirits and ghosts to make his own. Two college kids stumble on him when a book falls on his head. He starts bleeding everywhere. They're panicking, and the rest of the episode is just kind of explaining what his deal is, and these two try to be good, friendly people, help him out in case he might be dying, and he did bleed a lot. The art style is very distinctive, and sort of gets kind of meta with the dude saying they look like middle schoolers despite being 21. It's an extremely eccentric show, but all in all, I was kind of digging it and its weirdness. And I had a feeling, and then I looked into it, this is the same person who brought us Ozoki no Resetsu, which was also an extremely eccentric offbeat comedy. This one seems to be the same vibe, but it's going for something different. Instead of it being the life in hell as an everyday job, it's more just life in general and how interacting with spirits goes. I had a fun time with this, but this one's going to be a really hard sell. I think it's worthwhile, but know that what you're getting into is extremely dialogue heavy. And if you're not already thick with what's going on in the anime world and what's going on in Japan and yokai and all these other things, you might get a little lost. I'm not going to lie. But I'm down for a deadpan off-pan comedy. So I recommend this one. Bullet Bullet, This one started late into the season and came in with a full batch of 8 episodes. I only watched episode 1 while writing this out, but it seems kind of neat. Like, it's got some more experimental 3D stuff going on. This could be hit or miss depending on your taste. But whether you think it looks good or not, that's a different story. I think it's very interesting. The world and characters are a bit out there, but it also feels really compelling to learn about this world and character. It's sort of like a high story in this like grungy world with this very shonen protagonist type main character with his 2 mascot coded sidekicks. They're roped into things by this really manipulative girl who has very mysterious motivations, but she's really turning up her sex appeal to try to get her way. And yet, even with all that, the show managed to maintain that sense of grit about it. Now, again, I only watched the first episode, so this could change. But it seems like a fun, wacky little time with a lot going on. So, Bullet, I think it's worth a look. And the next few episodes should be coming out soon. Holy fucking animation, Batman. My fucking god, is this an animation showcase. This is Ruri Rocks. Of course this is a studio buying production. Because when you see animation like this and you hear that name, yeah, it makes sense. This is mostly seems to just be a pretty standard cute girls do cute things show, but it's about mineral mining this time. And that's what I expected coming in. I just didn't expect to be wowed visually by it. I doubt I'm going to continue with this, but man, if I can't say, this animation sure is tempting to make me dip my toes back in, because man, it's such a gorgeous thing to look at. Unfortunately, that's all I really have to say, but you want some gorgeous animation and this woman's thick ass in jeans? Well, here you go. Ruri Rocks got you covered. Absolutely gorgeous, wonderful looking show.
どうした？座り込んで。体調が優れないのか？
Apocalypse bringer Mynoghra. World conquest starts with the civilization of ruin. This is one of the isekai of all time. There's a mantis with tits in it. No, not like an anime girl, it's just like a mantis and it's got tits on it. Anyways, the premise is a kid likes a 4X game and enters it. I think it wants to kind of be like Overlord, but I don't think it really has an understanding of why that one works. So what if it was that type of premise, but twisted into a far more bog standard isekai fare? Also, these production values are kind of poor, they're not great. And most of the time it's just spent on really dull exposition. You really aren't missing anything if you skip out on this one, but I feel bad, but man, there's nothing going on here. So, I think this is an easy skip. Nyaight of the Living Cat. I finally managed to catch this one way later than I wanted to, because I was excited to watch this one way earlier. And it's just as stupid as it looked. And in production, maybe a little lower than I would have liked, but the death metal score and the intensity of the character voice acting, it puts it all together. I love every bit of it. It's so stupid. It's zombie apocalypse played completely straight, but it's fucking cats, and you get turned into a cat if they nuzzle you too much. It's so dumb. I love it. The main premise of the main character having no memories and amnesia, but has this intense love for cats, is then put to test against this cat apocalypse. So he has to fight his urge to be kind to cats so that he can defeat this horde of deadly felines. It's the stupidest shit you could watch, and it's great. I also love how every single incidental character looks like they just walked out of Fist of the North Star. I think everything played super straight was the right decision to make. You do need to be in the right mindset. I think this is perfect chilling with the buddies and just watching something material. Apocalypse was never this adorable.
An arcade.
Cultural exchange with a game center girl. This one ended up a little surprising for me. It's extraordinarily wholesome and cute show about a foreign girl meeting a dude who works at a game center who helps her with a UFO catcher and endears himself to her. It initially just seems to be at the language barrier, but it has a very romantic bit. And honestly, the whole time, it put a smile on my face with the positive vibes of the whole thing of learning in cultures interaction. Managed to hit that specific note that makes me feel really strongly feel things, which I didn't expect. For anyone who doesn't know, for me, sadness, pure happiness, or general stuff that gets people to cry doesn't get me emotional. But when you take someone who's down on their luck and then something good happens to them, dude, I'll bawl my fucking eyes out. The English in it wobbles between really good at times and extremely awkward, which is a bit of a shame considering they got Sally Amaki to do the main character, who's literally American and fluent in English, so clearly it's a direction thing. And her mother doesn't have the same chops that she's got, but she's doing pretty good. All in all, I think this was way more my jam than I expected. I really enjoyed this one. And I highly recommend Cultural Exchange with the Game Center girl. I am so happy to watch this girl make friends after struggling so hard at being able to speak with everyone. Puts the warm fuzzies in my heart. This is a short form manga I read forever ago. So there was nothing here to surprise me. But if you haven't experienced it, this is an emotional roller coaster. And the production of the anime seems extremely high, with good animation and style. This is Takopi's original sin. Think of the story like Doraemon or something, but a little bit twisted. The trigger warnings that you see drop at the beginning, they're for real. This is a story that I think a lot of people will really get a lot out of. You have to be able to handle some very real suffering and some very real interpersonal conflicts. Don't let the cute little octopus get you distracted. This story touches on some really, really intense subjects. If you have a kid, this might put you in a dark place, or might make you feel even better about your parenting. Hard to say. But I think this one's worth a watch. Don't be surprised by what you get into. But just remember, Takopi, he only wants the best for everyone. But sometimes that's not enough. See you tomorrow at the food court. Two gal pals from separate schools meet up at a food court and just chat about bullshit. That's pretty much it. The conversations are somewhat realistic, just talking about nothing in particular. My impression that this is probably the 4 or comic strip series. There isn't any particularly snappy comedy, but it is an alright, amusing time. I doubt I'm going to continue with it because it's just not funny enough for me. But some of you might get a kick out of it. I don't know if I'll be visiting this food court again anytime soon, but these two pals are having a time.
解決したいわけじゃない。愚痴聞いてほしいだけどあんな。
食べてからにしろよ。
一人でいるという贅沢を咎める者は誰もいない。
Pondering while solo camping. What if we took the old Euro camp and pulled out the cute girls doing cute things aspect? Similar vibes here. We got a middle-aged dude who just really likes solo camping and chilling in the wilderness. Unfortunately, he gets interrupted by a girl who's not very good at camping.
ソロキャンプがやりたいんだよ俺は。
安心してください。ソロキャンプです。2人でソロキャンプです。
And he's forced to entertain her whim, and so This turns into solo camping for 2. Solo camping for 2 is very much still just chill vibes and getting to learn, but it has a little extra bent of having a awkward little romance twisted into there with a ditzy girl and this really lone wolf type guy. I think it's a solid story, and it's got decent enough production values and directing. I did get into it with someone who said they thought this show was super ugly because the environments weren't as pretty as Eurocamps, but I think they got plenty going on here. It's not low quality by any stretch. I think Solo Camping for 2 would be a solid watch if it wasn't such a stacked season. So it's on the back burner for me, but any other season I would definitely be keeping up with this.
すまない。どうやら私は君を一人の女性として好きになってしまったようだ。やばい。
There's no freaking way I'll be your lover. Unless a maniacally socially awkward girl attempts a high school debut and makes a real close friend. The problem is the girl she made close friends with suddenly decides they should be mutually in love. Antics then ensue. Mostly the main character feeling embarrassed and awkward. But it's kind of Yuri having its cake and eating it too, I guess. It was actually an alright time. It's definitely more focused on the actual like romantic bit than the Yoricore audience usually seems to get. And that stuff always usually makes me feel awkward, but I didn't feel that in this. I was actually enjoying the characters and their antics and their whole relationship with each other. It actually feels like it's properly addressing it and not being fetish material. The central comedy of this series comes from the fact that she just wants to be friends and she wants to be lovers, and so they start alternating days between being friends and lovers, and it gets really awkward and zany. She's the cool, composed, everything goes her way type, and she's the socially awkward, panics at the slightest inconvenience type. Overall, the production's extremely great. It's very gorgeous to look at in general. I think it's worth a look if you want to see a Yuri romance. And it's got some decent comedy to it too. This one's also on the back burner for me, but I could see myself watching this.
レナコ。いけない。私、落ちる。させるものか。
From the first second I saw the art, my BL alarms sounding. The concept of this show itself ended up being a mostly realistic vibe. A middle school choir captain is concerned about his voice changing. He's feeling a sense of depression. And he gets roped, helping a Yakuza better at karaoke.
一曲だけ聴いてくれるか。毎回カラオケ大会で歌ってる勝負曲。
Nothing that happened in that first episode made those alarms stop. There's actually a lot here to digest. There's a lot going on, and I was actually kind of compelled by what was happening. I think this is actually a very interesting exploration of a soprano, their struggles when their voice starts changing. Added little comedy bent of this kind of like oddball Yakuza member helping him come out of his shell and get over himself. This might be some weird creepy age gap BL later, but right now I think I'm kind of enjoying it.
カラオケ行こう。
Hell Teacher, Jigoku Sensei, Nube. A remake of a classic I never watched. And honestly, everything down to the pacing feels like it fits from a different time. It doesn't quite have the same vibe or feel that Yaiba or the Ranma anime remakes have had, where it's like a modern take on an old classic. This just actually just feels like a classic came back. Like everything down to the art feels very old-fashioned. And that's not a negative on it. It's just very interesting to me how much it feels like an old show. The general pacing, art, and animation itself, exactly like the old stuff. It just so happens to be a crisp digital anime that happens to look just like it. If you want a very classical shonen-esque tale with a bunch of kids and a quirky teacher, well, there you go. Gives you some classic Great Teacher Onizuka vibes on top of it. For good or ill. Welcome to the Outcast's restaurant. Kicked out of the hero's party? Check. Female characters wearing horny on main outfits? Check. Buys a slave and says questionable things about it? Check. Lives the slow life? Check. Quickly gains a harem? Check. Food looks nice. I think it thinks it's an Iyashi Shike when it's just the standard fare. I would have skipped this one, to be honest, but I had to complete everything, and man, I feel pain. It's another one. Just another one.
だから足そもそもドライブ行きたくなかったんだって。チーが足のこと誘ったからこういうことになったんじゃん。二人とも元気だね。
Milky Subway, the Galactic Limited Express. A couple alien teens are arrested for small-time crime and get put on community service on a train. It's a short-form show, and characters talk way too fast and over each other a lot. It's a fairly unique setting, and also a 3D anime in the good way. Very well crafted. But it also seems to be broken up in an odd way. Because they've cut it up into 3-minute sections, but it seems to be an overall just a short film. It is a proper story though. I expect in the end, if you do all the episodes together, it'll be a really nice short film. I had a great time with this, and I think it's not going to ask very much of your time either. I think it's worth a look. It's also based on an old short from someone's college thesis I think I read. I think it's pretty creative. So I'd say the Milky Subway, the Galactic Limited Express, it's my recommend.
お前さ、希望が山高出たらどないする？
あんま考えとらんな。多分、じいさんの椎茸継ぐんちゃうかな。よしきくそどないする？
俺もまだよく考えとらんよ。
The summer Hikaru died. I forgot to watch this one earlier in the season. Maybe because I knew it was horror themed, so it didn't hang in my memory because those tend to hit my back burner. And yeah, it's very well made. It has a good sense of unease and dread. If an eldritch monster replaced your love, would you still be able to love them? That's the question this show. Unfortunately, this type of show isn't quite my jam, but I can recognize something that's made extremely well, and The Summer Hikaru Died is sure to be an easy watch for you horror buffs. Especially if you want a little bit of BL on top. Oh! Tougen Anki. This is a shonen action-ass shonen where shonen-ass action occurs. No time for all this backstory and world building, right into action and power sets. Theme seems to be Momotaro versus Oni. We have an Oni child raised by a Momotaran man. He has to overcome their differences as an action hero with the power that goes out of control. He really loves guns. All in all, this show's nothing you haven't seen before. It was an alright action time though. It's just extremely bog standard for the shonen action genre. If this season wasn't so stacked, I'd probably be like, yeah, it's easy and safe to watch, no problem. But there's so many shows that are way more interesting than this. Now, and don't take this as me saying this thing's bad. It's more damning with faint praise. Like, there's nothing bad here, there's just nothing that feels special. If you really just want your shonen action-ass action, it's got you covered. Just not a lot else going on. City, the animation. This was one, if any other season, I probably wouldn't have gone for it. This is from the creator of Nichijou. A sense of humor which I can respect, but I've never quite got on board with. This won't earn me many fans. Now that said, the art style is very distinct and well realized. The show itself is basically just a series of non-sequitur morning newspaper cartoon strips in execution. I did not find it especially funny, but I could see people who would. If you want just like a bunch of disconnected skits about city life, here you go. It's not my speed, but it definitely has a lot of passion in this production. It's wonderful to look at, it's very creative. You'll probably get a kick out of City animation, just not for me. And so ends all the shows I watched of the season. I don't think I missed anything. I'm pretty sure I got them all. I'm sure I missed something. Here's everything I give you a hearty recommend to. Clevatess, Dress Up Darling Season 2, Kijin Gentōshō, 2B Hero X, Witch Watch, Call of the Night, DanDaDan, Gachiakuta, and Secrets of the Silent Witch. These are all shows I think you can just easily watch, no caveats, and have a great time. Now here I'll show you what we have for what I would consider all the good stuff this season. Quite a lot, to be honest. A good majority of the season is good stuff, which is both a blessing and a curse. And now for the personal taste segment. This is stuff I might not personally like, or it may have a lot of caveats for you to be able to enjoy. So this also includes some stuff that I'm watching, but maybe it's not for everybody. And then here's everything I think don't watch, don't bother with it. There's no redeeming qualities. This is everything that I'll just call just a straight hard pass. Thank you for joining my first proper review video. Hopefully I was at least moderately entertaining, or you found interesting opinions within. I might do this again in the next season. Hopefully I'll get my work pipeline a little bit better, because this one was hell to get done. It took me forever to get started on. And I spent the past 3 weeks on the actual editing and recording of it. So it's been a bit of a rough go. You may have noticed that my editing mojo was slowly coming back a little bit the more I was going through the video. Hopefully this means the next time I do this, I'll be doing a more spick and span job. We'll see. Well, thank you all for having time and enjoying this video. Hope you all have a good one. Peace.